What is up, everyone? So this is actually technically the beginning of the Untitled podcast. Like, words are hard, English is hard. I don't really think we have like a for sure 1000% like title for this yet, but it's just a simple podcast where we're gonna get out some non-cannabis oriented thoughts. But I am Josh, and actually sitting beside me here is Ty or TyHighGuy, and
How's it going, everybody?
we're just gonna basically discuss some kind of like random thoughts and just kind of have like a little random conversation. So he actually does technically own his own podcast and is definitely a huge inspiration to just why I even want to be sitting behind a microphone and actually discussing some thoughts today. But his podcast is actually called Audio Dopeness, so I will 1000% make sure to like link that down below. But we also don't really know exactly how long this camera is going to last battery-wise, so if the audio or the podcast goes completely audio like halfway through, that is basically exactly what happens. But how's it going today, Ty? How you doing?
I am doing fantastic, dude. I'm very happy to be here recording audio with you.
Exactly.
I mean, you've already mentioned audio dopeness, but I myself, and I know that you're a big fan of podcast and the genre as a whole. For a while, I've been a fan of podcasts from like a listener standpoint, and just recently with audio dopeness, I have found my own platform to freely have conversations about whatever, just really whatever can pop up at any given time with whoever. I've already had a few conversations with you and also with other WeTubers. So it's just a really cool platform, specifically podcast, to talk to other people like yourself.
I mean, because a lot of us have ideas that aren't just cannabis oriented. Like, a lot of our channels are, weed channels because that's like the niche audience in which we fit. But a lot of us have a lot of ideas that aren't cannabis oriented, but really no platform to speak them. So I feel like having people that do have podcasts in the community and then also like making our own is huge to just be able to relay thoughts and ideas and stuff because we're actual people and we actually have like ideas and shit. So
Totally. And like the thing with our YouTube channels is I feel like there's a specific spice to the content that we share with our audiences on YouTube.
definitely.
So in having another way to share thoughts and to engage with your audience in recording audio for however long, like in our case, we can go for like hours and hours of conversation
So easily.
about whatever is relevant to us, and it's still a way to engage with your audience, the people that
Exactly.
will watch your YouTube videos for other reasons.
Well, and I like podcasts just because I don't always have time to sit down and watch videos. Whether it be me driving or just doing like random chores throughout the house, like laundry, dishes, shit like that. Like, I need some form of entertainment that's not music because music gets old really quickly for me. Like, I'll always be someone that's looking for, this sounds really fucking hipstery of me, but I'll always be someone who's like looking for new music and searching through like new music playlists because music gets old very quickly to me. So I feel like podcasts and stuff is like a way to just absorb knowledge and get some kind of like just overall content out of your time opposed to just sitting there listening to the same thing over and over and over again.
Well, yeah, definitely. Like you have access to completely new insight. What's really cool is even with podcasts of some of the best internet creators, they often have guests that have nothing to do with what they do for a living.
Yeah.
And it just speaks to the fact that you can have a conversation with pretty much anybody, and there's something valuable that you can pull from that particular conversation, even if just the pure benefit of hearing out somebody's story or what they've been through and just their perspective as a whole.
I feel like, I mean, no matter what anyone does, you can definitely pull some kind of knowledge from like their overall just views and stuff because everyone has their own area of expertise and things that they're very knowledgeable in, and if it's something that you're even slightly lacking in, you can definitely pull some really good information from people if you just start listening. Like, people are so caught up to talk and not actually just absorb. It's super important just always look at everyone as like a wealth of information and like just be a sponge that you're soaking up thoughts and stuff constantly, trying to relay them to your own thoughts and stuff.
Totally. And I think that there's something to be said about the dynamic that podcasts hold over other forms of media like music, like more short form things. You can even consider some YouTube videos to be short form media, whereas podcasts, people sometimes have podcast episodes that are like 3 or 4 hours in length.
I listen to those gladly too.
Exactly too, and there's a whole different set of perks in listening to podcasts. The fact that you're tuning into dialogue about, in most cases, a variety of different topics. It gives you the ability to tune into that dialogue throughout whatever you're actually doing. So you don't even have to dedicate 100% of your own focus and attention to everything they're saying, because they're saying a lot of different things. So you don't have to, really hone in on every single word to still pull a good amount of, quality
like actual value.
Yeah, actual value out of the particular podcast. So it definitely has that, I think, over more short form media that really takes more of your attention on a shorter, more focused period of time, like it takes with listening to music. And that's why I think, and I would agree with you, like you said before, about having to listen to podcasts, because music will get old pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. Like, listening to a podcast is totally different because you can just let it play and then go about the rest of your day.
And absorbing like information in any form, especially through podcast, is something you can bring up later. It's like you're never really going to be sitting there like, hey, remember that sick riff in that song? Like, unless you're actually a musician yourself, it's not super relevant to like long-term anything. So if you're sitting there listening to a podcast, not only are you soaking up like some sick Wheel of Fortune answers for the future, you're also just like soaking up actual knowledge that you can bring up as facts and stuff. So
definitely, it's a broader set of topics that podcasts generally cover.
Exactly, and I feel like it just offers more value than music. That's not saying music's completely invaluable, because music, in my opinion, for me, is a complete mood booster, complete mood changer. It's like a tone setter, I guess. That's why I don't really listen to like any kind of metal or any kind of like hardcore music anymore, and I really don't even listen to rock, just because it'll set me in just like a shitty mood for the entirety of the day. So I find that if I listen to like just happy, indie, upbeat, maybe some occasional rap, I'm in a much, much, much better state of mind, tone, and mood. So music definitely does offer some incredible value, but I think it's a completely different kind of value,
I think I would agree with you for the most part. I think the distinction, though, is like a song compared to an album. Because I think if there's a particular album that you resonate with, then I think that may hold wondrous advantages and meaning to you. So in terms of like specific songs, there's probably like listening to songs, having favorite songs, it's a pretty important thing. It's a pretty common thing. A lot of people do it, but it's a whole nother level when it's a whole album, a whole story, a whole collection of different themes and ideas and perspectives. And when there's that to be experienced, then it's an even more powerful thing. I think in some cases even more powerful than like some podcasts you could listen to.
Yeah, for sure. And like it's interesting. We talked about this off mic a couple days ago. The fact that some songs, actually, I think it was earlier today, some songs hold relevance to you forever. It's like you'll have like a specific idea or a specific time that will be tied to like a specific song. So I believe you were listening to it was one of the Drake albums. It was the Drake album where it's like the side of his head. I think it's like Nothing Was the Same, I believe is the name of it.
Yep, I think what you're talking about.
And I think specifically you were listening to the song Too Much. And I remember that song right there it was like encompassing of me working food service and me working like in the dish pit, soaking wet, hating life, like sore, smelly, and it just brought back like a really weird flood of memories, and it brought me like to that point in time, like instantly, just hearing the song. So it's cool that songs can actually like, you can tie life moments and they can be relevant to things that are years old.
Totally. It's like for the same reason that like you hear like people have like their own songs, like, do you remember the song that first played when I met you at that one
like
TGI Fridays? that had like really shitty Philly cheesesteak.
Remember we had those microwave appetizers?
Yeah.
Fucking 2 for $20.
What was it called? Like Endless Apps? I think that's what it's called.
That's a good date right there.
Oh yeah, now I have the munchies. But I feel like it's kind of been like me my whole life. Just like one giant pit of like, you just like put more food in it, basically.
Oh, never actually full enough.
Nope, never. Just constantly longing for more sustenance in food form.
I feel that. I feel like, especially, cannabis doesn't help that. Cannabis is like a major aid to actually wanting to eat more. But I need to get back on the decent food path. These last couple weeks have definitely not been eating well. A lot of pizza. A lot of just like random fast food.
Well, we just had some Pizza Hut tonight.
We did just have some Pizza Hut, but it was simply because I haven't actually gone shopping in like probably 2 weeks time. I've gone shopping once since we've actually been here. So I haven't gone shopping. I didn't feel like going shopping, and there was basically no food to make a meal. So Pizza Hut.
Plenty of reason, man. Like honestly, if you didn't even list off the actual reasons you decided to just say,
order
"Fuck it,
Pizza
get
Hut, it would have been.
I would have been like, all right, man.
Like,
that's
sounds like a good deal.
Just want pizza? Cool. Sign me up. But
Also reasonable. I mean, there's never not a time for pizza unless you're like actually trying to diet.
yeah,
Which
but
is
even
most
then,
people.
even then, I feel like people will definitely just try and find the justifications with ordering pizza.
I mean, that's
Like-
what cheat days are for.
Exactly. I was just thinking, like, it's always like, like, just start tomorrow.
I
you know?
mean, we can have like 6 pieces. It's only like 900 calories. No big deal.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and just randomly talk about some of this YouTube drama. I feel like we actually kind of
Yes.
blatantly, quickly covered this last night, but didn't really. We didn't get to actually save the conversation, so we'll kind of recover it again. I just think that it's kind of all a ploy, and it's kind of ridiculous because it doesn't actually further or better the community at all.
I think people right now on YouTube are very, very eager to have their content and their message be seen by the rest of the world.
Definitely.
Throughout YouTube, obviously, because that's how it's been. You want to be seen by more people. You want more people to subscribe to your channel. And you want, ideally, more collaborations and to work with more other awesome people in your community. But I think that there's more incentive to have your content be seen by people outside of YouTube. So I think we're seeing people they're definitely not shy to call each other out if it means getting views and staying relevant. And I think
That's scary though.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of what the drama that has been happening with a lot of the bigger channels on YouTube, I think a lot of it, what's even started more drama has been the fact that these are people that have a lot of power and a lot of influence and a lot of people watching them, and they are making the conscious decision to call attention to things that are going to keep fueling that fire and keep people clicking and keep people, harping on the whole drama topic on YouTube.
See, but that's scary because I think that means that YouTube as a whole, as like a platform, is kind of moving away from what it used to be. Like, and I think that is sadly like bringing that YouTorb thing that's
like a
tattooed on my
Pokemon.
wrist, utorb.com. Also, really quick side branch, I'm going to come back to that story. I went to get myself a camera charger today from like a random little camera store. And for those actually just listening to the podcast, I have a YouTube tattoo, like a logo on my wrist. And she asked me if I got my YouTube like logo tattoo from VideoCon. And at first I was like, I just kind of wrote it off, not actually even realizing what she was talking about. I was like, no, I'm a YouTuber. I got it before. And then she was like, yeah, that one thing, VideoCon. And I was just like, VidCon? Like in my head, it finally clicked that she was actually talking about VidCon. But apparently there was a bunch of people at VidCon that were getting YouTube tattoos on their wrists, apparently.
It's
so
a trend, man.
I think we've started something. I think we've started a trend, but I am now going to refer to VidCon as VideoCon for the rest of eternity.
Yeah, that
Good old VideoCon.
That's so funny. That I could definitely like already kind of picture how that probably went down. It's just like probably the cringiness just escalated.
And she even subtly insulted me. Like we were talking about like camera batteries, and she was like, Yeah, usually customers don't really know what they're talking about or something like that. Just kind of like she dropped something that I was like, I am a customer. Like you basically just blatantly insulted me and then said VideoCon.
And then, of course, that was when you pulled out the Strain Central sticker as well as the business
The
card.
Strain Central sticker was never busted out,
Oh,
unfortunately.
man. I was hoping to hear that.
What were we
was.
talking about? YouTube drama. So,
Yeah.
yes, I think that realistically, like, YouTube drama is. Here's what YouTube should be focused on, and especially creators should be focused on, is creating better content. But I think they're releasing a lot of their creative efforts and all of that into, like, the weird outlet that is drama. Just because it's, like you said, what's getting views, it's what's getting clicks. So I think people are trying to make content that's specifically for clicks, specifically for people to like watch it. And sure, like we all want people to be watching the content that we're creating, but as creators, once we stop straying away from actually focusing on creating good content and actually creating stuff that we can be proud of, I think it just kind of it's going to degrade quality, which is going to be ridiculous because like quality is not 360p, 1080p, 720p. Like that's not the kind of quality we want on YouTube. Quality is like actual sustenance in content and content actually being content, not just lackluster,
Empty.
Yeah, exactly, empty, just nothingness.
For the show of it.
Yeah.
No, it's got to actually have substance.
It's like
to it. It's gotta
that's like
mean
a
something.
facade.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that yeah, just a lot of the drama it is associated with the facade aspect of some YouTube channels, and a lot of it too, specifically with drama and just you know, people like Killer Keemstar, you know, just people that are looking to put themselves in other relevant storylines with other YouTubers that are themselves putting their own news and their own happenings throughout their own life, no matter who it involves, apparently, because apparently it can involve a channel with 3 million subscribers that ends up being a fake punch in the face prank that nobody on the internet understands, and then you're just left with people that don't understand why these
Anything's happening.
yeah, like why these things even happen in the first place.
And it's good, in my opinion, with the whole drama channels, news channels. I think that's good to have as just a platform. It's good to have news because every platform, every aspect of life has some kind of news. But at the same time, I think it's a very subjective platform. Like all of these guys, Keemstar, Scarce, all of them are very subjective in how they report things.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've heard them throughout this now say, I go to people to make sure to not ruin their careers. Like I make sure to talk with people before I, do news reports on them. And I don't think that's like real objective reporting. I think once you start bringing people that you're reporting on into the report or whatever into the picture of things, it's going to start being slightly subjective. That's not like great journalism. So I think a lot of it is just kind of like actually clickbaiting. I think clickbait's a term that's thrown around way too much nowadays, but at the same time, I think it's good to have this news for us to access because as like a creator, I want to know what's going on throughout the entire community, and having a collective 8-minute video of someone actually talking about it is really good because I'm constantly caught up with all the information and stuff. So it's a double-edged sword. It's good, but I think it needs to be done a little bit more objectively.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. The objectivity is like across the board. I think with YouTube videos and just content on the internet, it's our duty, if we're taking the position to create this content, that we remain objective when it comes to things that require that. It's one thing to have a particular opinion on something, and I do think that there's a particular place and way to say things and a time for it as well. But if it involves somebody else, or if it involves a particular story or something that other people have the ability to actually figure out what really is happening or what really went on with whatever you're talking about, then it's your duty to be objective about it and to be upfront and to actually be truthful about things.
And
because I think a lot of people like take things for way too much more than they should. I think people don't
Definitely.
question things as much as they should. I think
For
people
sure.
are very quick to assume that what they read at first is true.
It's the Facebook effect where you're
Yeah.
scrolling through Facebook and read a simple article and then take that as is. But I think it's important to realize that it's not, Scarce's fault, or it's not any of these Keemstar's fault, any of these drama channels' fault to report on someone. Like one of the things that I believe was actually said in this entire situation was that, like, drama channels are ruining other people's lives and it's ruining people's livelihoods. But in the end, we're all directly responsible for our actions. We're all directly responsible for what we're doing. So what it comes down to is we shouldn't be putting ourselves in situations that we're getting reported on.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the drama channel is ruining the person's life. It's the person that is, like, actually living said life that's ruining that person's life. So what it comes down to is we're all, making our own decisions. Just don't make shitty decisions and you
Yeah.
won't be on TMZ. I feel like that's how the news normally works.
100%. You control what you put out there. It's the internet, and know that as soon as you put it out there, it's out there forever. Even if you delete it from your page or whatever.
Exactly.
That's the mentality that it needs to be approached at with, because anything less than that, you're really opening the door for a lot of angst, to put it lightly.
Yeah.
But like specifically with YouTube drama channels and people that even cover the news, like people that will be objective about it. So it's important to be aware of what you're posting and what you're sharing, especially if you're trying to build an audience and build a YouTube channel, because there are other people that, whether they're just looking for clicks or looking for views, or whether they're actually trying to objectively get the truth out and report things that need to be reported. There are people out there that cover that and that know what goes
Exactly.
on. It's a powerful time we live in.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see this being what YouTube is today. Because this is not what YouTube used to be. YouTube has changed, night and day. Completely 360 almost, or 180, should I say. 360
Yeah,
means we'd be
be right
right back to where we
backwards.
started. But it's just like the form of content that's being created is so much vastly different today than what YouTube used to be. Because when I first started, it was skit channels. It was maybe like one personality ranting about a subject, doing like a vlog video in their bedroom. It was not these, like, it's just like people are commercializing it. So we're seeing YouTube transition as a form of media, which is really cool.
Yeah, no, totally.
YouTube is like it's like transcending into like what TV or whatever new form of media that's going to be.
It was like when YouTube first started, it was where a lot of creative minds were finally able to easily and efficiently just share whatever they had to make. So a lot of it was stuff that came at a time where there was not a lot of expectations for what people were sharing on YouTube.
Definitely.
So that's why, like, the whole viral video craze was all pretty
It was
much
huge.
birthed from the very beginning with YouTube. And that's why, channels like Smosh and Fred, there's all pretty much those couple of videos that you could kind of point back to, once upon a time in YouTube's lore that sparked their initial growth and success to get to that front page on YouTube. And from there, they pretty much established themselves as YouTube OGs. But I think as the years progressed, I think people saw it as more of a potential to, to market to people and to sell products. But the way that it manifested itself was people started to collaborate more, and then eventually companies got involved. So networks were formed. So there was a gathering of creators under, similar goals, similar interests, and things of that sort, but in a more formal, more corporate structure with YouTube MCNs and networks and content aggregators and everything. But and that's pretty much like what it's been like, I would say, for the past like 6, 7, 8-ish years. I would say it's been really, like, I think hitting its peak. I think now with where YouTube's at, especially now, it's like there's got to be like millions and millions of people around the world on this site right now.
Yeah, it's
right
weird.
now.
It's weird thinking where it's gonna go though, because it is like you said, it's like hit its peak already.
Yeah.
So it has the pillars, it has like the base to definitely be something that's huge and is a new form of media. It is the actually it has basically the ability to actually transcend the gap between internet media and actual media through
100%.
streaming. But it's just, is it going to actually be done? Because all this drama,
Yeah.
what it comes down to, doesn't actually help the website.
No way.
It divides. It does nothing but makes communities not like each other. It makes communities clash, which is going to make users deactivate. So this like weird YouTube drama that everyone's like, oh, we're getting popularity out of it. It's not actually growing communities. It's not actually growing, and it's not actually doing any positivity. So to guise, or not even that, to hide, hide this drama under the guise of positivity makes me kind of sad. Because that's really actually what we need to be focusing on, is truly actually maintaining the positive place that is just a almost like a haven for people to come and meet and share ideas and to spread content. And it shouldn't be somewhere where you're getting made fun of, where you're getting degraded, where you're worried about drama that it's high school drama is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So it's like the haven and the community that we should be creating, in YouTube as a whole should be positive. It should be positive in a sense that when you come on, you're expecting some form of happiness, some form of actually just overall well-being that you could actually find from the internet, because that's what it used to be. It used to be a community of like slightly socially awkward people who would come and actually share their like-minded social awkwardness and actually be able to interact and spread some positivity. So it's moving into and I think it's because it's such a mainstream form of media.
Yeah.
That it's this ugly, troll, try to gain popularity, try to gain fame, and it's moving away from just creating good content and just sharing like-minded, really cool ideas.
Yeah.
So
Totally. I think it's important, and it always has been important, that creators on YouTube, they remain true to themselves. Like, even if their channel blows up and you get millions and millions of people on the site itself, and then all the outside exposure you'd get from it, because it's the age of social media. So if you have a presence, then you have some power. And I could say it again: with great power comes great responsibility. And actually, I would like to thank whoever it exactly was that clarified.
it was Ben Wesselman.
Uncle
It was
Ben.
I think
it somebody named
it was
Ben?
Ben Wesselman, who is also the founder of the SC Quotes Twitter.
Oh, yes,
So,
that's right.
Yes.
Wow, his name is Ben too?
Yeah, I think that's probably why the whole Ben thing stuck with him.
Right?
That's what I was thinking about that earlier.
Huh, there's something with the name there. Well, yeah, no. Well, thank you, Ben, for correcting us. Which I don't even think that was on like my podcast. I think that was on like the mock one that you and I did yesterday.
No, I think it was on the Audio Dopeness.
Was it? Oh yeah, well that's right. That's
Because
how we
he-
even knew
I
about
was gonna
it.
say,
What am I
because he
saying?
commented on it.
Yeah, whoops. Yeah, no, well, thank you for correcting us on that. But Uncle Ben did say, with great power comes great responsibility. And it's the same way for, like, YouTube creators, specifically to remain true to what gets them to be seen by more people in the first place.
And I understand the place that a lot of YouTubers who sell out are coming from, just because it's like, as you're creating, you want to get paid for creating. It's definitely a dream. It's like, I can get paid doing what I love, what I fucking am passionate about.
At what cost, though? That's
Exactly.
ultimately what it is.
And there's a point where it's like, I think people just get greedy, because it's like, okay, once every couple months having some form of sponsored content, it's understood from a audience standpoint. Like, I understand that occasionally you're gonna have to pay the bills, you're gonna have to eat, you're gonna have to, get basic amenities paid for and covered. But having 3 sponsored videos a week, or having every video you create be a sponsored post, at some point it's just like, okay, come on, like, you don't need to eat that much. Like, there's definitely a point of like, okay, you're getting greedy with it. So I think as a creator, I am actually very glad that we're a part of the WeedTube and that we don't make those buku crazy fucking YouTube bucks, because it keeps us true to the content we create. I think it's awesome that people are able to do what they want for a living, but I think we talked about this in your podcast the other day. It's like in the 1800s, we would be fucking jesters. We would be like, after one shitty bad pun, we would be out to the gallows and getting killed. So the fact that we're even able to entertain today and just get by is pretty fucking incredible. So the fact that there's YouTubers like put on a pedestal and being paid millions and millions and millions of dollars is mind-boggling. We should be paying to be in this fucking position, because most of us as creators love this. It's what we're passionate about. So it's like they're, as an audience, allowing us to basically fulfill a passion, fulfill something that we're actually like, it's like self-fulfillment to its highest regard, to its highest standards. So we should be paying our audience almost to like come and watch us. It shouldn't be the opposite way. So I like that as WeedTubers, we're not really getting paid crazy amounts, because like I said, we're creating real content, and it's like, it's not that every single one of our posts is going to be a sponsored post. We're going to be able to do whatever the fuck we want, because we're just creating to create. And that's important.
I'll say this. If I were in WeedTube for the money, I would be a fucking moron.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's pretty accurate. Like, if you're in YouTube
sense.
for the money, go be one of those Call of Duty gamers who wears Gucci flip-flops and rolls around with gold chains, because this is like the one YouTube community that's not gonna make you a ton of money.
No.
Just because it's not advertiser friendly. So we're creating because we enjoy cannabis, because we enjoy YouTube, and because we enjoy our community and the people that are in it. Like it's always asked, why'd you begin your channel, Josh? Why'd you start WeedTubing? It wasn't for views. It's never been for, an audience. I really didn't even have any plans of building a community, building an audience. At the beginning, I thought maybe 100 people would be able to come and give me some cool ideas, some cool new thoughts, and I would be able to learn some, because there was not a lot of cannabis content on the internet post, or before 2014. Like 2011, 2012, 2013, there was not a lot of cannabis content online. Sure, there was like Sound Drone and a couple of like OG WeedTubers, Chubbs, CCC. There was people who definitely paved the path for us, and there was I got a lispy there.
Suffering.
And then there was also like weed blogs and occasional forums and stuff, but there was no organized form of content that you could go and learn about cannabis. So as like a baby stoner, I got into weed like, what do I do with this? Like water bottle bong, tape, tinfoil? So like, I didn't know a goddamn thing, and that's what I saw there was a need for. There was a need for someone to fill those shoes and actually put the content out there. So there's never been a like goal of how many subs I want to hit, or how many like I would be content hitting, just because numbers to me are but that, numbers. It's like, I've never really said in one of my videos, like, subscribe, comment, any of that. Like, I'll occasionally push comments because I like to see the community grow and stuff. But it's always for me just been, it's an instant wealth of knowledge, and it's filling the shoes and the position that needed to be filled. And also changing how the overall world sees cannabis users. That's another huge one, but
Definitely.
it's important just to stay true to the content that you would like to create. Listen to your audience, listen to what they're saying to you, listen to what they have to say, and take that as creative criticism, but don't let your audience negate exactly what you do, because your audience didn't get you to where you are today most of the time. So it's like, stay true to what you want to create, and if you as a creator are enjoying what you're creating, who cares if the audience doesn't? Because that's not why you should be making things. It's like, at the end of the day, 20 years down the road, at least you spent your time making something that you're proud of. And at least you're creating something that in the very end, if no one else likes it, you're enjoying and you like. So it's important to create things that you personally enjoy.
That's like probably the rule of YouTube.
Yeah,
is
for
create
sure.
something that you're passionate about and that you genuinely love. Because if you can't, like, if you fail to find something that you even love to do on YouTube, then you won't even be able to grow a community based around that, because people won't even be able to connect with you on that particular interest, because they'll be able to feel that if you're trying to put on this facade and try and just sort of fit in, ultimately, is what you'd be doing. People can absolutely see through that. So it's important to truly find something that you enjoy doing, and then practice on getting better at sharing that with
It's
people.
a skill. It's 100% like, you're not going to be comfortable sitting down talking to a microphone or sitting to a camera at first, because it's awkward. And that's as simple as that. It's a skill that has to be built like any other skill. You're not going to get on a skateboard and go hit a kickflip first try. You're going to go and bust your knees up, fuck your ankles up, and ruin a couple pairs of shoes before you're actually able to hit that kickflip. So the same thing happens with the camera. It's just, you don't have to ruin so many pairs of shoes, and your ankles aren't going to hurt as much. Definitely. You're just going to ruin a little bit of confidence.
And to the same effect as well, even when you've practiced and you know that you can land a perfect kickflip 99 times out of 100, there's going to come that 100th time, and then it becomes, well, what now? What are you going to do at that point? Because
innovation.
Exactly. It's not going to be an easy route if you truly think that YouTube is what your passions are. If you truly feel that way, not even just think. If it's something that you wake up and there's this feeling inside you where you can't rest until you get this particular thing done.
That innate sense of passion.
And that's what YouTube is, like, for me, you know?
100%.
And that is what I think is helping me when things get hard with creating content and really doing my best to produce the best quality, because it does get hard sometimes.
Fuck yeah,
absolutely. There's a creative block that comes sometimes with trying to produce top-notch quality, like on a consistent basis, especially
if it's daily.
Exactly, especially when it's daily. So it's important to have the ability to take yourself back from that and kind of, level things out a bit, because if you let these personal hardships get to you too much, they're going to affect your content, and that's where things can start to slip a bit,
And I always hear two questions I hear a lot. I guess it's a question and a justification as to why people don't want to create. But one of the questions is, how do you start? Mm-hmm. And my best answer to that is start fucking doing it. That's really all it takes to begin, is a will to start. Because none of us are going to be good at this at the beginning. Mm-hmm. So you have to start, and you have to start building that skill. And then the second thing is like, it's not going to be great. No. It's not going to be top-notch. It's not going to be exactly like all these other people you see online. You're going to have this weird want and like, you're going to want to copy. You're going to want to copy what you've seen. You're going to want to, like, try to be like all these other YouTubers, But unless you're actually showing your true personality and actually making your own style and actually your own, you're showing who you actually are, and you're not just trying to be someone, or you're not trying to play a character, which for some channels works, but as long as you're actually being yourself, you're probably going to you're going to find people that enjoy you for you. Mm-hmm. And that's also that's important to just being a human. Like, be yourself. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't try to fit standards that, like, society or media is potentiating.
The goal is to feel like you're not trying, and to still be able to produce good quality content. Because when it feels like you're not trying, that's when you're most natural. That's when, and it's not like you feel like you're not trying is like you kind of sit there and you don't say anything, and you're kind of just bored or whatever. But people can feel when something is coming naturally to you, or when you're not sure about yourself.
When you're forcing it.
Exactly. So when it comes to creating content on YouTube, there needs to be this part of it to be understood. That people, when they click on your videos, they're making the conscious decision to give you their time. Definitely. And that's like huge. One of the most important things. That's one of the most valuable things you could ever give somebody.
Giving someone a portion of your existence, basically.
Exactly. So there's an importance to make sure that you're trying to produce good content for them. And if you're not sure about the content you're even putting out in the first place, how can you expect somebody else to be willing to take the time to even listen to you and actually watch your content in the first place? It's got to come from a real place to you, and it has to be something you're certain about, to the point where if somebody random happens to click on your video, they know that they're watching you and they're actually listening to something that's real to you. They're not just wasting their time listening to somebody who has no idea what they're even doing.
Yeah, it's like you owe it to them as a viewer to create good content, basically.
Yeah. And to the same effect though too, like even if the point of your video is that like, this is my first video, I have no fucking clue what it's gonna be about. If you make that clear to somebody, you're still being confident in what you're doing. That's you knowing what you're doing. Exactly. You're being real to it. So it's still as easy as just pressing record and starting, but it's knowing why you started and why you pressed that button before you actually do it. And that's how you can even just, give off the vibe that you're not trying, that this just comes naturally to you. That's how you get comfortable and create good content.
See, and people also, I think, are really afraid because they don't know, I don't know what to create. Mm-hmm. Guess what? As a creator, I woke up this morning, I had to create a video today. I woke up this morning not knowing what the fuck I was going to make. It's like there's days where I wake up having zero clue what's going to be created that day, but that's simply part of being a creator, and that's part of the fun, is getting your brain to that point of actually creating something during the day. Definitely. So don't let the fear of not actually being able to create stop you from creating, because it just takes you a couple of simple thoughts and some actual willpower to make it happen, make it come to fruition.
I've seen it happen a lot of times, and even at the beginning of channels that I've started, the way that it typically goes is the first few videos are kind of like about me videos. Definitely. It's more about getting your personality and what you like to do, who you are, your interests, so that way people have something to gravitate towards. And if they happen to like sports as well, and that's something that they can connect to, and then think of things like questions or comments or insights or whatever it may be. And from there, in your shoes as the creator, it's your job to see these comments, to see these questions of people that they ask in response to your interests and who you are. And then from there, that's how you can get the inspiration for the content that you create. And I think that's how a lot of people ultimately find their way. It's the beginning stages of feeling out the channel and feeling out the video making process and feeling out the people that are watching your stuff, that are, initial couple month to year period there where you're still learning everything and learning everyone, but from there it's easier to grow and innovate, I think, because you're gaining more confidence and more comfortability, and you're just being more open to other people that are watching you.
And I think like the whole thing I said earlier about creating what you want to create and not creating just because your audience is wanting you to isn't fully true, because yes, in some sense you do have to listen to what your audience is saying, and then with your own creative style take what you have, like it's like putting your own take on it, putting your own words or your own style on what they have to suggest to you. And that's something that I think is done a lot. But I guess what I'm saying by that is like don't just create something someone else has because they think it's going to work. Because if you don't have some kind of base idea or base, little style to put on it, it's not going to, like we were said earlier, it's not going to come off as real. It's just going to be like they're creating a facade, or they're creating to create.
Totally. Actually, like this kind of like made me think of this to the same degree of what you just said. Like, my brother loves to go to the casino, mm-hmm. and I love my brother. But I don't always go to the casino with my brother. Sometimes we like to just go bowling or something.
Yeah.
I like to go to the casino every now and then, but it's not something that I will compromise because it's something he likes to do. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of the same way with YouTube videos. Like there could be certain specific forms of video and content that people will particularly enjoy that the creator might not want to make all the time because it's not what they in their heart as, you know, a passionate creator would want to just do. It's something that I think it's related to the relationship you have with your community. I think the more positive and the stronger it is, the more understanding they are when you're not willing to, you know, just do some ridiculous video all the time because it's what people would want to click on.
There was a comment today that said, and I quote, "Do your next video in a British accent." So I don't know why they thought that would be something that was a good idea.
Well, I mean, like the fact that you already said it too here, I don't know. I think more people are going to start to get on board with that. It'd be very
now,
interesting.
every single comment section is just going to be, "Josh, why do you not talk in a British accent?"
Or at least do like a promo or something, like or like a fake promo.
Hello,
with
governor.
Water or something, like, you know, something noble in a British accent.
I feel like for some reason European people always make fun of my rolling ability. I don't know why. They always I think it's just the fact that they roll like spliffs, so they're like rolling a lot more, I think.
Yeah.
And we use more glass, so it's like I never really get to roll. But anytime I roll up a joint, they just talk shit about it.
Like
and
the quality of it.
One day they pushed a couple buttons and got me a little bit salty in a periscope, and I may or may not have made like half of Europe slightly angry. So they were like, "Josh, you can't roll, you're terrible at rolling, you're awful at rolling." And then one of them said, his quote was like, "If you came to Europe, we would laugh at your like shitty rolling ability," or something like that. And I just kind of like on a whim blurted out, "Well, if you came to America, we would laugh at your shitty weed."
And then you drop the mic.
Yeah, and then just drop the exactly, turn the periscope off, and then as soon as I was done with that, I was like, "I'm sorry, like I'm sure people grow great weed over there, like." I know the reason you have to mix it with tobacco is because it's not legal. Like I'm so sorry. Like I felt like a complete dickhead as soon as I said it.
Dude, spliffs are a whole different ballgame.
I can't fuck with it. It's just like I would probably cough like a little pussy. Like it just wouldn't go well.
Yeah. I've definitely been handed spliffs that I didn't know were spliffs before.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's not the most polite thing to do.
I mean, it's basically like smoking a blunt, but with actual tobacco.
Yeah, but I mean, like the fact that if you don't know it's a spliff when you go to take the hit, and you get the fucking rush of tobacco, and that's a whole different.
That's like going to eat a food that you think tastes a specific way, but then you eat it and it tastes completely differently.
Yeah, the consistency is totally different. Or like when you have to like microwave food, and you, from like the feel of it at first touch, it feels like it's fully cooked, and then you throw it in like in between a couple buns, and you take a giant like chomp out of it, and part of it's still frozen,
freezing cold.
Yeah,
you're like, God damn it!
But it still blows your mind because you're like, how the hell can the rest of it be that hot? And this one concentrated area is like rock solid frozen.
Accurate.
But that and also with pizza pockets or with hot pockets actually. They're called Hot Pockets.
I'm actually not a fan of Hot Pockets, surprisingly.
No?
No.
Huh.
I also don't really like pizza bites. Like Totino's, I don't fuck with Totino's. I don't really know why.
I'm sorry, I may have to leave this
You might just have to walk out of this podcast right now.
I think so.
I think it's just because I didn't really eat them much when I was a kid, so I didn't really get to experience that. It wasn't like ingrained in my mind. So the first time I had them, I was like 16, and I was like, what the fuck are these? It's just like a greasy pocket of explosive, just I don't even know, it burns your mouth.
It's great when you pop them and the cheese can spew out from both sides. You can see the steam come out too slowly. You gotta let it cool off though, because it will definitely burn you. You're right.
I feel like Totino's were something you ate like right after school.
Oh, absolutely.
Watching like Nick Jr.
All the commercials that I ever remember like watching were after school ones. That was like the peak time you'd want. Whereas, like, you know, a marketer for Totino's that you'd want kids to watch, because you come home from school and you're fucking hungry, but your parents aren't home yet, so it gives you time to sort of, you know,
throw some Totino's in.
Well, that, or if you don't have them, it gives you the time before they get home from work to watch the commercials after school and get you riled up because you don't have Totino's. So by the time your parents get home, you're like, "Is it grocery day yet? Because we don't have Totino's, Mom." That's a problem.
See, I think my school actually took that marketing into their own hands, and they decided about halfway through my 6th grade year that they were going to start serving lunch during lunch and then after school as well. So they would open the cafeteria after school, and people could come in and have like school snacks, and it was
lunch.
always full because everyone's hungry after school. It's like you get done with a long day of school, you're at least gonna go get yourself some gummy snacks or something.
Dude, that is revolutionary.
Right? Exactly. Second lunch.
Dude, I'm just saying, public schools in Massachusetts, from my experience, absolutely you'd go home hungry. Like, they'd give you food, and it was pretty good food, but portion sizes, they were never really the best size. So, like, a lot of cases, I'd go home with just the munchies.
Just hella hungry,
yeah,
right?
just eat copious amounts of just shitty snacks.
And they would also occasionally even do breakfast, too. Like, 3 or 4 days a week, they would do cinnamon rolls, and I think they also had cookies, which probably wasn't super healthy.
You got the hookup.
But, yeah, no, like, it was a pretty small school, so I feel like they definitely hooked us up. But I always hear schools say they have like 3 or 4 options for lunch. Like, we only every day had one option. So it was like, we had like chicken sandwich day, and then we had like pizza day, and then we had like cheeseburger day. So it was like every specific day had like a specific thing assigned to it, but we couldn't stray unless you had like a food intolerance. So
Was pizza day Friday by any chance?
it 100% was Friday.
Yeah, I feel like that's a national thing.
Yeah, and
Probably still to
and
this
everyone would be back cutting.
Oh,
What the fuck was bag cutting?
Oh my god.
Who came up with that idea?
All right. So
You're not fooling anyone.
I've already brought this up to you off microphone. But George Watsky, who is a rapper, poet, an artist, he does a lot of really, really cool things. He's one of my favorite rappers and just artists in general, like musically. But he recently came out with a book called How to Ruin Everything, and he has a chapter in that talks about back cutters, and he has a whole page, and it just, I would not do it justice right now, but it is the most
ranting.
beautiful rant about the tragedy that really is back cutting.
It's absurd.
It really is, because it takes a different kind of inconsiderate behavior for somebody to let somebody go behind them in front of somebody else that they're not even affiliated with. So somebody else has got to pay for your
It's
your
like
wanting to
you're
get
not even
approval.
letting them ahead of you.
Yeah.
If you're letting them ahead of you, it's like, okay, then that's maybe saying
You're
at least
taking
a
a
little
hit
something.
as well in that case.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, you're being a pussy here. You're just
Yeah.
like, all right, well, I'm going to be cool with this guy, but the dude who's already behind me, he's going to hate me for a
You're
bit.
basically just saying fuck you to the person behind you.
Yep.
That's basically all you're doing.
Yep.
You're like, I have no regard for your well-being. I have no regard for your time, and
if it was ever
you're getting a
something-
shittier piece of pizza.
Yeah.
Because of me.
I was just going to say, if it were ever something that was like a really premier thing on the menu, like something that goes out really quick, then I'm just saying I'd be pissed if I were like the very, very first one to get like whatever shitty next meal they had.
Right.
I'd be so pissed if I were back cut.
You'd be like, I saw 77 people back cut before me. I got the 78th piece of pizza. Why am I can't talk tonight.
Dude, words is definitely the name of this podcast.
Random lisps are just coming out of nowhere.
The Words podcast.
Words. I like words.
Or just words.
Words episode 1.
Words. Words 1.
Words, I mean, it
Nah,
says...
fuck the episode part.
just
words
words
1.
1.
Words 2.
Words 2.
3.
Words 100.
Nah, dude, it'll just be words, more words, even more words.
Even more words. More words than that.
Words times infinity. Which actually, yeah, never mind. That's a whole other...
Wordfinity. So, let's go ahead and really quickly talk about the fact that you just today hit 10K. First of all, congratulations. I don't think I've actually dropped that yet. But that's a pretty big milestone.
Yeah, man.
That's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'm fucking blown away. It's still like, it's crazy because it has been almost 3 months. Like, it hasn't even been a full 3 months.
Wow.
Since I've been posting pretty much every day. Like, I started the daily posts, I think, like, maybe the last week of April. So it has been quite some time. It feels like it's been a lot longer, but it really hasn't been at all. And 10,000 subscribers is, like, I think personally one of the first big big milestone.
It's like 1,000, I guess, is technically
You're right.
on like but that's like your first YouTube channel, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, and that's I feel like you can hit 1,000 with a channel that's like kind of like I'm pretty sure I had a gaming channel when I was like 16 that hit like 1,200 or something like that, and
Yeah.
I mean it was a huge deal at the time. But I'm always kind of been that numbers is numbers kind of person.
Definitely.
That all being said, it's like that's a community. At 10,000, you actually have a true community at this point. So that's a huge deal.
Definitely.
That's really cool. And I know, do you have anything planned? Or are you going to do any like crazy challenges or anything? Or
So I might need help with brainstorming challenges, but what I do have planned is a Q&A. So I'm doing Ask Ty, and that's going to be Friday the 22nd. Nice. Friday, July 22nd. That's going to go up on my channel. So yeah, that's what I do have planned. I want to do something else on top of it, whether it's a challenge or whatever else I happen to come up with. That's what I'm going to be doing. But I made the announcement on a video I recorded tonight from the time we're recording this podcast.
I always like the Q&As for like milestones. I do the same thing.
For sure.
I think I'm at 29,910. So I'm 90 away, I think, from 300,000.
Like
and
90
I think
individual subs?
Yeah.
Damn.
Like I'll maybe hit it as I'm sleeping tonight, if not like tomorrow morning. But I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll definitely do some kind of a Q&A because that's what I like to do for like I think I did it at 100, 150, 200, 250, 300. So like it's a nice way to kind of connect really quickly without having to do a 3-gram dab or 300 dabs for 300K or something like that. So
absolutely.
I definitely like doing the challenges, but I like doing them not for the milestones, you know? I like just kind of keeping it random with those.
Well, I think it's more fitting to do something like a Q&A because you're sharing more about yourself. You're opening up more, and it's something that people can use, for lack of a better word, going forward as they watch your channel. Because the point of celebrating these milestones is to take the time to, address the people that helped you get there, and to really think about what you're doing with your content and where you'd like to go in the future with that. And that absolutely involves the people that helped you reach that milestone in the first place.
Exactly. Speaking of the people that like help you get here, have you ever been recognized out in public, YouTube-wise?
Yes.
Do you have any like interesting? What's like the craziest story you have of being recognized? Like, what's the weirdest situation or the weirdest time that you've actually been recognized?
Okay, so I used to deliver pizza for Pizza Hut, and this was last summer. So I was still doing THG, TyHighGuys.
Okay.
And at that point, we had only had maybe close to 10,000. Like, we were still a pretty small channel at that point. But I was on a pizza delivery, and there were like a few what I assumed to be like 16, 17-year-old kids. And I made the delivery to one particular kid. He didn't really like know who I was at all. Like, he kind of just went about business normally. But I noticed that one of his friends in the back behind him was kind of looking at me funny. Like, he kept like double taking, and I didn't really want to engage contact the whole time because I was like, well, what the fuck? What does that do? I kind of just wanted to make that delivery and go. As any pizza driver would like to do. You want
I'm trying to get my tip and get out of here.
Yes, the whole 30 minutes or less bullshit thing that actually is not a thing. Anyway, so he was giving me like this weird look, and it wasn't until later on that night after work where I checked the YouTube private messages for the channel, and there was somebody that it turned out to be that dude that saw me was giving me a weird eye. He recognized me from YouTube, but he was like, I didn't want to say anything because I didn't know if that was like cool. So yeah,
that's always weird. Like the messages or like people. Like I saw a comment the other day that someone said, "I saw you playing Pokemon Go, but I didn't want to come up and say what's up." Like I definitely understand it because a lot of the time, if I ever see someone out in public that would be like, I guess a YouTuber, I would probably run up and I would fanboy.
I'd pull out my camera.
Definitely. Like, I'll definitely most of the time be like, hey, what's up? But if it was someone that was like an actor, I probably wouldn't bother them. I wouldn't like waste their time or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's always fun. Like 100% of the time, if you come up and say what's up, one, we're probably going to be just as nervous. We're probably just as socially awkward as you are. And it's something that's really cool for us to actually be able to match like names with faces. But it's always weird. The message thing is weird as fuck. Like when I was in Vegas a couple months ago, they actually had, I had someone literally take a picture of the back of my head while I was walking through a casino, and then tweeted at me and say, "Is this you at Mandalay Bay or something like that?" And I was just like, "Why are you taking pictures of me like the back of my head? Like, why'd you not come up and take a picture?
Just, like, come
take a selfie with me.
Yeah,
Shit, this is
selfie or
weird as
something.
fuck."
Yeah.
But I've definitely had some weird, just like viewer meetings, like some weird timing. There was once where I was arguing with my ex-girlfriends in the like parking lot of my apartment, and someone that apparently lives in the apartment building basically walked up to me and was like, "Do you have a YouTube channel? I think, are you Strain Central?" Like as my girlfriend's getting in her car angrily and like driving away, I'm like, "Hi, how's it going, sir? I hope you're having a great night." So it's like, unless we're actually in some kind of odd situation, 99.999% of the time, like we're gonna be chill, just saying what's up, because we're not special. We're not. We're normal ass individuals. We're normal humans doing normal human things. So like, never be afraid to come and say what's up.
100%. There was another time too at a Dunkin' Donuts where, so from the looks of it, when I remember being at this particular Dunkin', the workers didn't like, nothing really rang any sort of like nothing really went off in my head that was like, this is sketchy, like this is suspicious. They all seemed like normal workers. Nobody really was giving me any weird looks that made me think they recognized me or anything like that. But this is actually probably more recently. This is earlier this year, a few months ago, at a Dunkin' Donuts. But so I was there with Q actually. So Q and I were the ones that were recognized at this particular Dunkin'. But we still to this day, we had no fucking clue who even saw us. But later on Twitter, after we left that Dunkin', we saw a brand new account, like it was a brand new egg Twitter account. So they had just made it with some random string of characters and letters, and all they tweeted was the exact location of the Dunkin' that we were at, and it was, "Saw you at this." It was whatever the address was.
That's so weird, though.
Yeah, that's
so they didn't
all
like
they said.
come up to you. They didn't.
Nope. And I don't even remember seeing anybody else at that Dunkin' besides the people that worked there. I have no clue who would have fucking saw us. Maybe somebody in like a car in the parking lot, but at that point, it's still weird.
That's still super creepy.
That's fucking weird. Like,
I think another really memorable, like kind of weird interaction, but at the same time, one of my overall favorite interactions I've ever had with a viewer is in a Fred Meyer's. It was actually someone who worked as a cashier, and she recognized me as she was like she was still transacting with a customer. So like one of the funniest parts is she stopped me like mid transaction and was like trying to talk to me and then do the transaction at the same time with the customer. So the customer was like visibly kind of angry and like, okay, let's hurry up with this transaction. But then she basically pulled her cell phone out and had me FaceTime with her boyfriend. And I just never been in that situation before, so I was like, "How's it going? Like, I wish you were here." And then like 2 or 3 minutes had passed, and I was just like, I don't know what to say anymore. But it was by far one of the most memorable experiences I've ever had, like meeting up with someone, because I actually stood in a Fred Meyer's and FaceTime with someone that apparently watched me on YouTube. But they're really nice people, like really incredible people. So
yeah, that's especially a cool thing too when you happen to meet, people that are really cool, like people people that would go out of your way. Like I actually at Extravaganza in Northampton, Massachusetts this past year, I got to meet a few different people that are on YouTube.
Nice.
Cannabis Ken in particular. If you're ever listening to this, shout out to you, homie. But I got to meet him for the first time after seeing him on comments for months and months for a while.
Forever.
Because he's actually a local back in Massachusetts as well, where I'm from. So he actually, I remember I was already in a stoner circle. It was coming up on 420 on the day of Extravaganza, Saturday afternoon. And I was with Slower Future. I was with Nessie. I just met Nessie. Nice. I was with Sasha. and I was with a few other people as well, but I remember Ken just came right up, shook my hand, and he didn't even say his name, but like it immediately clicked in my head once I saw his face because it's the same as his thumbnail picture, and I was like, "You're Cannabis Ken, fucking awesome to meet you!"
Right?
And then like we just sparked up a bowl and we were chilling for the rest of the time that we were there.
That's how it was for me and Envy. So Envy Closet Med Grower, like
Nice.
I've known him since I started my YouTube channel. So
Wow.
like a lot of us started right about the same time, and it's kind of cool to see where all of us are at today. And even Jolie is kind of a part of that. Like mid 2014 or like kind of the beginning of 2014, there was a bunch of channels who were all at about, like, I think Jolie was at about 1,000 when I was in the hundreds, and Envy was right there. I think he probably had a lot more than me. He was probably at like 200 or 300, and it was just a community of like-minded individuals that were sharing ideas, like we said earlier. So the fact that I was actually today able to meet him and shake his hand was incredible.
Definitely.
It's cool that the internet's doing that. Like we said when we did the whole Denver thing, we all felt like we'd known each other for years and years and years when we first met.
Vegas?
Like meeting each other, it literally felt like we had like an internet friendship for years and years before we actually like met each other. So it just felt natural. It felt comfortable once we all were able to kind of put the faces to the names and stuff.
Definitely, yeah. Vegas was just the beginning, though. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I think that was that was when we were able to actually put the real faces to the people that we got to know and got to learn through YouTube and through the internet over the past year and few years for some people, but no, that was totally just the beginning. Like we absolutely there's a lot more other opportunities for events and meetups and travels, and I think it's exciting, and I think it's going to be cool for us to take advantage of those opportunities.
Exactly. Like the next trip that, for those that actually aren't aware of this, the next trip we do have coming up is the Trichome Institute trip, which I believe is the beginning of August.
August
and
1st to
there's
5th.
going to be just a lot of actual educational cannabis content. There's going to be things that you normally wouldn't be able to learn, and I think that's going to be a huge just overall step for not only the Swag Collective, but for the WeedTube community. Because this is the kind of knowledge that bud tenders need, that the community needs, that everyone's going to need. So it's always cool, and it's always very humbling being in like the figurehead position, having any kind of like sway, because you're able to educate in a mass form, you know? It's like the stuff that you're learning and that you're able to take in, you can actually spread with the rest of the community. So getting to actually head up to Denver and kind of learn some more about trichomes, learn some more about terpenes, learn some more about the plant in which we get to talk about all the time is going to be huge.
We're going to be able to hang out with old friends, meet new friends, see new places, see new everything, really. Like, I've never been to Denver itself, so I feel like even just waking up is going to be a new experience.
Yeah.
So there's going to be plenty of
I love Denver.
new experiences and just new everything to record and to share with people. So, yeah, this trip is going to be fucking awesome, man.
I believe Sasha called it the real world stoners or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I was like, that's actually going to be pretty accurate.
Well, yeah,
but
because like we're going to be sharing another Airbnb. I'm pretty sure it is.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, like an Airbnb for the week. It's going to be like 5 of us, I think, in a house together. It's going to be
5 or 6.
the 2 of us. It's going to be Slower Future, Sasha or Elijah, Sasha, Kaveh, and Audra.
I
That's
believe
6 then.
I believe the 420 Science crew is going to be there as well, though.
But no, they're staying at a different place.
Are they staying at a different B&B?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna have like that whole Airbnb for
So much
real
content,
world
though.
content.
So much content. So it's I definitely want to get a vlog going, and it probably will be on the same channel that the podcast is on, but it's a lot. It's a big step, you know. It's weird as a content creator, especially a daily content creator, because a lot of my time is spent just sitting in front of a computer or laying in bed looking at my laptop trying to compile data or information. So a lot of like daily vlog would literally just be me sitting in front of a computer. So I think travel vlogs are probably going to be what I really focus on. Like anytime I'm doing anything exciting, I'm going to try to record it. And I think Denver is going to be, if we have time, a really good place to start.
Definitely.
But it's doing a daily vlog. It's a lot of work, a lot of work, and I did it for 3 months in high school. But doing a daily vlog on top of other daily content is an astounding amount of work because it's just not realistic. It's like I don't think people realize that as a YouTuber, it's not 20 minutes for me to make a video. If I was shooting it with something that I didn't have to edit and I could just insta upload, then it might be a different story. But 20 minutes doesn't even take up the time it takes for me to start looking up information. Especially because I want my content to be educational. I want it to have some kind of like sustenance. I have to take time to research that. I have to take time to look it up. And then the creation process is the whole thing, you know. Cleaning out the glass, making sure the studio's clean, actually sitting down to film it, recording it, exporting it, rendering, editing. It's sometimes a 4, 6, 8 hour process, so it really is sometimes as long as a normal job. Whereas some days you're able to do it in 20 minutes to 2 hours time, so it's like, it literally completely depends on the day and the project, but when you add a 4 to 5 hour daily vlog on top of that and then have to record yourself in large portions of your day, it gets very consuming very quickly. So I definitely want to take on that task soon, and I think like having you here and having someone to hold the DSLR for me has been life-changing. Way easier than having to hold like a 2-pound camera in front of your face.
Dude, it's been fun to get to play around with it and actually
DSLR
get
training?
more familiar with it. Totally, yeah. 'Cause I owned a DSLR once, but I definitely did not play around with it as much as I should have. So having the chance to do that now, and at the same time, you know, being able to help you out with your content, and you know, likewise the other way around too, the way that you've been helping me as well, I think it works in a perfect way. So it's been fun all across the board.
Definitely. I'm glad to be able to provide not only somewhere for you to stay, but some education and some like learning courses, you know.
Dude,
and you're
I've
doing
learned
the
a
exact
lot.
same for me. So
I'm very glad to hear that, man, for sure.
definitely, it's cool that we're all able to learn from each other. Like the first time we met Nessie, she dropped that huge Periscope bit with the whole like GoPro thing. So
Oh yeah,
it's like we all, even though we're learning from each other, we're spreading information and we're all teaching each other at the same time.
Yeah,
so.
and if you were confused as to what Josh said, he means when Nessie helped us Periscope with a GoPro, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
You're able to actually use a GoPro through Bluetooth on Periscope,
Yeah.
but none of us were aware of that.
No,
So
it was amazing.
that was a good little piece of like tidbit of knowledge to learn. And then she also sent over some Dunkin'. So the first time I got to try Dunkin' Donuts coffee was technically from Nessie. So
My first channel giveaway was with Nessie's Kitchen, with Nessie
Nice.
herself. So Nessie is she's awesome. I was very happy to have met her at Extravaganza.
100%. There's no one in this community that I've met so far that's been anything but kind-hearted and incredible. So I genuinely, I might be biased, but I genuinely think the cannabis community is one of the best online communities there is. Like, I've been a part of a lot of the vlogging communities and the gaming communities, and sure, once you reach a certain size, there's going to be maliciousness, there's going to be people trolling, there's going to be all that shit, but I think, like, per capita, to use like a political term for this.
Whoa,
I
politics?
Think, right? Actually, that's more like economics, but still, it's per capita. There's just really good people. It's people that are ready to share like-minded ideas and just some positive vibes. So I love it, and I think that, like you said, it's nothing but the beginning. And I also think this was a pretty good start to this first little episode of this podcast. So I thank you very much for actually stopping through and rambling for a couple of hours. I would say that was a pretty nice little dabbed out ramble, but it was fun.
I would say absolutely. This is I would say this is a 7 out of 7 first part.
A 7 out of 7, as PKA says, like a top 10%, a top 6% podcast. But thank you guys very much for listening, and I hope you guys all have yourself an absolutely incredible afternoon. Please, please, please make sure to keep that head up to the best of your ability, and just try to stay positive. But stay beautiful, stay wonderful, and I love you guys. But peace.
Peace.
How long was that? I'm surprised my camera stayed